Howdy howdy, my name is John and this video is another double tag video. Today I'm going to do the pain over joy tag and the school days tag. The first tag is the pain over joy tag. I was tagged for this by Ariel at Reading and Whatnot, and the original is by Aaron Facer. I'll provide links to both channels and videos in the description below. Question 1. Do you mostly read books illustrating pain or books illustrating joy? Why? I mostly read books illustrating joy. My favorite series is Xanth, and I started reading Xanth in really a difficult time of my life, basically when I was a teenager, and then I returned to it shortly before my mother passed. So it's just been a series for me to kind of get through the difficult moments of life, because really life's difficult enough without needing to seek out additional pain. Question 2. Do you see books about pain as more intellectually valuable? Why or why not? Now, I have seen other booktubers struggle with the term intellectually valuable, and it's kind of given them some difficulty, but to me it kind of makes sense, and I kind of understand the question. Here again, when you're reading about life's trials, that gives you time to reflect on those trials and to try to come up with solutions. When you're reading a book that's kind of a happy book, really you don't get that. You just get the enjoyment of the book. There's nothing really wrong with reading a book just for enjoyment. As such, I see those books just as intellectually valuable as books reflecting pain. Question 3. Why do you think major book prizes like the Booker and the Pulitzer mainly award books about pain? Well, I'm an engineer, not an English major, so I don't really know. However, the Oscar for Best Picture tends to go to a drama, not a comedy. And I think it's the same type deal where, here again, when you focus on someone suffering, that gives you time to reflect. Whereas a happy movie, you don't really get that. It's just entertainment. Question 4. Do you use and agree with the phrase guilty pleasure? Why or why not? Now, I grew up attending a conservative Southern Baptist church, and we had a popular saying that being a Southern Baptist will not prevent you from sinning, but it will prevent you from enjoying it. So, yeah, I kind of agree with the term guilty pleasure. There are some things that you enjoy that, may not necessarily be the best for you, but you enjoy them, so that's why you do them. And the phrase in and of itself doesn't really give me any heartburn one way or the other. I don't mind using it. I don't mind if people avoid using it because, it does have some negative connotations. Question 5. Do you think books centering on joy are guilty pleasures? As I've stated earlier, there's nothing wrong with reading a book purely for the entertainment of reading it. Question 6. Do you read in secret? Are there books you read but never talk about because of embarrassment, shame, or guilty about liking them? Here's my philosophy. I am under no obligation whatsoever to tell you every single book that I read. I'm well within my rights to read a book and not tell you about it. The next tag I'm going to do is the school days tag. I was tagged for this by Margaret Pinard. The original was created by What Victoria Read. Again, I'll provide links to both channels and videos in the description below. This tag is actually divided into two different sections. The first section is times of day. The first prompt, first bell. Tell us about the book that first got you into reading. Now, I started reading at a fairly young age, so I don't really remember the first book. I do know one book that I remember enjoying as a child was The Little Engine That Could. I was reminded of this book by a recent video by Shelley Swearingen. Break time. Which book have you most recently had to take a break from? Or DNF. A book that I'm in the middle of, but not currently reading, is the landmark Julius Caesar. This is a read-along sponsored by David Wiley, and we're reading a section of it a month. I've already read The Gallic War, And later this month, I'm planning on reading The Civil War. The last book that I DNF'd was Eye of the World by Robert Jordan. This is the first book in the Wheel of Time series. Lunchtime. Tell us about your favorite book that features food. In October of 1996, I moved into this house. A couple months later, I had a housewarming party. One of the gifts that I received was Where's Mom Now That I Need Her? This is a combination cookbook and a how-to guide for other household chores. Final bell, which book have you most recently finished reading? As it turns out, this book is Dulcie's Legacy by the very person who tagged me for this video, Margaret Pinard. I enjoyed this book. It's actually set at this time of the year and has a little bit of a spooky theme to it. So if you can fit this book into your October TBR, I would encourage you to pick it up and give it a try. Homework. What was the last nonfiction book that you read and enjoyed? I am in the middle of the landmark Julius Caesar, as I mentioned earlier, and I am enjoying this. The last nonfiction book that I finished was The Greatest Generation by Tom Brokaw. This is a series of short biographies of a number of different people that were in their late teens, early 20s during World War II. Staff room. Tell us about a book that you go to when you need to take a breath. When I was a kid, I really enjoyed the Encyclopedia Brown books by Donald Sobel. Every now and again, I still get the desire to pick up one of those books and read through them. I've read the book so many times that, I already know the solution to the mystery, but they're still fun, quick reads. The next section is subjects. Choose how many of the following you like. It doesn't have to be subjects you liked or anything. English. Tell us about one book you studied at school and recommend one book that you would like to add to the curriculum. One book that I did read in high school and really enjoyed was The Importance of Being Earnest by Oscar Wilde. The book I'd add to the curriculum has to be Lord of the Rings. I mean, really, this should be required reading in high school. Why is it not? Maths. How do you rate your books? Basically, I follow the same system as Goodreads, 1 through 5 stars, with 5 stars being I loved it, 4 stars being I really liked it, 3 stars being I didn't really like it, I didn't really hate it, 2 stars being I did not like it, and 1 star being I hated it. I do not give half stars, which, of course, when I made that decision, it seems like every book that I read kind of falls in between 2 stars now. But I do generally try to, narrow it down to a single star, and I don't always round up. Science. Which book couple do you think has the best chemistry? Drama. Which book do you think has the best ending? I chose this book for both prompts, and I'm not going to say the title of this book for 2 reasons. 1, it would spoil the pun, and 2, I only like you. This book does concern a love triangle, and I found the conclusion of the love triangle to be very satisfying. What I find especially fascinating is the author admits that it was a letter from the fan at the last minute that actually provided the author to end the book the way that he did. Geography. Describe a book that had a strong sense of place or great world building. For this one, I'm going to go with Beyond Redemption by Michael R. Fletcher. Was it my favorite read because of the content? This book, however, does a really great job of world building. The book is really dark, and if you can handle how dark it is, I think you'll really enjoy the book. History. Which 3 historical fiction novels have you most enjoyed? The first one is The Guns of the South by Harry Turtledove. This is actually an alternative history. It imagines a world where people from modern times travel back in time and provide the South with AK-47s. The next book is Killer Angels by Michael Shara. This is a fictional retelling of the Battle of Gettysburg. The final book is I, Claudius by Robert Graves. Read this book back in January, and I really enjoyed it. This book follows the years of the fourth emperor of Rome, Claudius, before he became emperor. Religious studies. Which book is one that you always come back to? A book I always seem to come back to is Harriet the Spy by Louise Fitzhugh. The events in this book kind of mirror something similar that I went through when I was Harriet's age. I've reread this book many times. I hope to reread it again soon, and it's a book that I really love. PE. Show us the biggest book on your TBR. The biggest book that I own and intend to read someday is the Electrical Engineering Handbook. This comes in at over 2,600 pages. Something that is a little bit more realistic and something that I do plan on finishing sooner is War and Peace by Leo Tolstoy. This comes in at over 1,300 pages. Art. Show us 3 books you think have the best covers. The 3 books that I'm going to show are actually books that I've recently read. I didn't, try to find the 3 most beautiful in my collection. First, we've got Minimum Wage Magic by Rachel Aaron. Actually, Buddy read this with Margaret. The next one is Parable of the Sower by Octavia E. Butler. The last one is Off to Be the Wizard. I kind of like this retro 8-bit graphics look that this book goes for, and it follows right along with the story of the book. Modern Foreign Languages. Recommend a translated book that you enjoy. For this one, I'm actually going to pick the first 5 books of Livy's History of Rome. I read this earlier in the year, and I really enjoyed it. It's not necessarily the most historically accurate history book, but it's very entertaining to read. I did not take the time to find the people that have not done either of these tags. They're both kind of older tags now, so if you haven't done the tag and you would like to, please feel free to do so. Thank you for watching this video, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day.